my channel. I hope you're doing well, and I'm going to respond to a question that I get a lot in life, and that's confidence. And where does confidence come from? Where do you get it? And if you do get it, can you keep it? What types of things can bring your confidence down to 1%, or maybe have it go too far, 100 or 1%? Having too much confidence is not necessarily a good thing, and obviously having too low a confidence is definitely not a good thing. There aren't too many situations in life where confidence does not play a part in what we do in life as human beings. Confidence can make you make the right decisions, both morally, physically, with your health. You have to have confidence in almost every single action that you do to a certain extent. Some people's confidence ranges, as we stated, depending on who you are. Every individual has a different set of confidence for a different set of reasons. Again, whether it's the lowest of the low confidence or the highest of the high, there's a reason why that person has that level of confidence. And it's up to each individual to figure out why your level of confidence is where it's at. As a person who has gone through every level, to the highest confidence level to the lowest confidence level, I can assure you, even though this is just advice on my part, I have a very good understanding on what it takes to have confidence, both dealing with it on the lowest level and how you get it out of it, and having too much confidence and having you basically come back down to earth. And we're going to talk about those things, and I'm going to talk about it in 6 steps. And this is a series, this or in parts, because all the information was going into confidence. As I stated, there are so many different reasons why your confidence will be here, here, or here. Everybody wants to have their confidence up here, right? That's not necessarily the case. We every day have to adjust, and our confidence adjusts with what we're going through. So even though we would like to be up here and we think we're up here, a lot of times we really are down here. And how do we know that? In this part, in part 1 of this confidence series, I am going to talk about 6 things that I use every single day to basically look myself in the mirror and say, where's your confidence level at? Is there things you need to adjust? Is your confidence justified? Or are you lowering yourself? And let's get that bar to raise a little bit higher on the confidence meter. So let's start with the very first one. The very first thing I always start with when it comes to confidence is your self-esteem. Self-esteem is one of the biggest factors, at least from my point of view and what I've been through in my life. My self-esteem really manifested my confidence either negatively or positively. And on too many occasions, my self-esteem allowed my confidence to sink straight to the bottom. And it could be school related, where your grades aren't as high as you need to be. It could be something at home, like when my father passed away at a very young age for him and for me. He passed away when he was nearly the same age I am now. And for me, my self-esteem after my father died, not having a proper father figure in my life, that affected my confidence. So home life might have a lot to do with it. Your siblings may have a lot to do with it. Failures over and over and over again. Adjusting to puberty. Adjusting to not being in high school anymore. Adjusting to marriage. Adjusting to having your kids. There are so many things that will ebb and flow your life. Tug and pull, right? You're in a constant battle with basically what's going on around you. And a lot of that stuff, unfortunately, we don't have any control over. And that brings me to one of the biggest things, like I said, self-esteem. Self-esteem is one thing that you can control to a certain extent. You can put yourself in very bad negative situations which will affect your self-esteem. Now, a lot of people's bad situations can elevate their self-esteem. Let's say you're in a gang. To a lot of people, that's a bad situation. But you being a part of something elevates your self-esteem. So let's just take the game part out of it, and let's all of a sudden put in you're in team sports. That's going to help you with your self-esteem. But some people might say, wait, what if you fail? What if you're the worst player on the team? Your self-esteem now is lowered, right? Well, one thing you can do is, do you want to be a part of that team, or would you like to do something else that you think you will succeed at? Now, my point with self-esteem is this. It basically means you have to make adjustments. If your self-esteem is at a certain level and it's rising or lowering, to a certain extent, you have to make adjustments to make your self-esteem fit whatever you really personally want to feel. Some people don't want to be too overconfident. Some people think overconfidence is arrogance, leads to bullying, leads to aggression, leads to cockiness, leads to basically you being an asshole. A lot of people think that. A lot of people don't want to have too much confidence. I'm one of those people where I like the little Goldilocks zone of confidence. I'm not too high, I'm not too low. I'm right here in the middle, and I adjust it where need be. There's times where I do need to be overly confident. When I'm a boxer. I don't box anymore, but in my past, that's a situation you don't want to go in that ring feeling any less than 100% confident that you can win. Otherwise, you're going to get seriously hurt. I'm a musician. I feel like every single time I pick up my trumpet, every single time I write a piece of music, it needs to be the best it could possibly be. Or why am I doing it? So, but that's a standard. That's a standard I hold myself to, and everybody's standards are different. I am a perfectionist. That sometimes leads me to not being the best that I could possibly be, because trying to be a perfectionist, the pursuit of that, you have a lot of failures, and people will look at you and be like, you're failing a whole lot. And to me, I'm thinking, no, I'm not. Every single time I fail, I'm learning something, which means I'm getting closer and closer to that perfection that I seek, even though it's so unobtainable, because everybody's idea of perfection is completely different. So that leads us to number 2, which is confidence itself. Once you figure out your self-esteem, which is something that is so difficult, as I said, for each individual to figure out, that it's almost, self-esteem is something we're going to have to cover on another day, because it is its own monster. It's you're influenced by so many things that can shape your self-esteem, but ultimately it leads to your confidence. Your confidence is what's going to shape that self-esteem. It's what's going to bridge the gap between you being mediocre and being really good, you being really shy and you being really assertive and being outgoing. It's going to bridge the gap between failure and you basically reaping the rewards of making yourself go beyond your boundaries, pushing yourself beyond the limits of what you set upon yourself. Again, this is my advice, my experience. Other people will try to shape that for you. Don't let them. Do not let people shape your life. That is your job. Your job is to shape yourself into wherever you want to be, the best version of yourself, if that's something you obtain to be. Some people are perfectly happy with being who they are, regardless of what anybody else says about them. And that's the kind of person I am. I don't care what other people say about me, because I am already aware of my flaws. And I don't need anybody else to tell me what they are. I have recognized them. That comes from looking yourself in the mirror. And I'll put a link in the description to me talking about, in a video, about looking yourself in the mirror. And another video I made, which is 12 ways each day you can make yourself a better person, to be the best version of yourself. In the description box, check out those links, and that'll help you understand where I'm coming from, what I mean the best version of yourself. Being the best version of yourself is the best meter of you figuring out your self-esteem. Because your self-esteem comes right along with your confidence. Again, your confidence has to be shaped. And to me, self-esteem and confidence are basically nearly the same thing. But self-esteem is something that can be basically influenced by others. Sometimes your self-esteem is affected by what other people do in your life. Deal with deaths, new people that you meet, love, failure. All those things can be affecting your self-esteem almost hourly sometimes. Confidence is something I perceive to be, you know what, even though I'm being affected each day by my self-esteem, it's going up and down, my confidence can stay right here no matter what. And that's me saying, no matter what, I'm always going to turn a negative into a positive. I'm going to attack everything with 100% pure effort. I'm going to go for pure perfection even if I can't get it. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to accept failure. And even when I fail, I'm going to take the positives out of it and say, you know, I learned something. I learned something. So confidence comes with control. You can be in control of your confidence, because you can be confident enough to know that you're not going to get knocked down. And even if you do, you're going to get right back up. That's something that other people cannot do as far as influence you. They cannot make you not be confident. That's something you can do. Now, obviously, self-esteem plays a huge part in that. And that stuff, individually, everybody has to figure that out. But confidence can be as simple as saying that you're a brave individual. That you're going to look whatever problem you have in the eye and you're going to go up against it no matter what. It could be the scariest day of all, and you're going to get up that day and you're going to hit it hard, and you're not going to make excuses for yourself. And that brings us to the next one. Excuses. Excuses and self-esteem are, as far as I'm concerned, they're always at a war with each other, because your self-esteem and your confidence can be affected by excuses that you bring upon yourself. I'm not talking about other people. We're talking about excuses for why you didn't get up when you know you needed to. Excuses when it comes to, should I have ran that extra mile if you're trying to lose weight? An excuse of why you ate more food than you should have. An excuse of why you quit that job when you know you needed it. An excuse why you bought a new car when you can't afford it. Those are all excuses. Those are things that you have to figure out why you're making them. And sometimes excuses, we all make them. And that's part of being human. Everybody makes excuses to justify what they are doing or what they're not doing or what they should be doing, what they could be doing, what they will be doing, what they have done. We make excuses about everything. We're human beings. I personally try to limit all my excuses as much as possible. And sometimes I'll go a whole day and realize I made an excuse about almost every single thing I did to justify what I did that day. And it's up to me to go, you know what, you cannot keep doing that. That's not healthy, that's not productive. That is you being selfish to yourself. You're robbing yourself of experiences because you're making excuses of why you didn't go that extra 10 minutes when you were working out, when you want to get to a certain level, and why you didn't learn something new every day when you promised yourself that you would, why you didn't get that to-do list done, why you didn't get those goals done. You can make up 100 excuses, and I always go back to, there is no excuse, you just didn't do them, and next time you better do it. And that's basically where I try to get at when it comes to excuses. Just don't make them. If you say you're going to do something, get it done. Like Yoda said in The Empire Strikes Back, there is no try, only do. You do not try in life. Do not try. Just do it, and if you do it and fail, that's fine. If you don't do it, that's fine, but don't try to do anything. Get it done. Now, some people say, well, how can I try to do something that I haven't done? But just, it's a mindset thing. Yeah, of course you're trying it, but in your mind, you're going to do it. It doesn't matter. If people think if you do something and you fail, you say, well, I gave it a try. No, there is no try. Do it again. Do it until you get it, until you have it. I view success as that. If you want something bad enough, don't try to get it. Go get it. It may take a long time, and it may be perceived to other people that you're trying. But you know you're not trying, because eventually you will get it. And that meant what? You weren't trying. You did it. That leads me to number 4, which is motivation. And this is the easiest thing. Motivation is internal. Now, you can have other people push you. You can look at other people and use them as benchmarks and litmus tests, and you can use other people as an example of what you want to get. There are plenty of people that I consider idols and role models and mentors. There are things I see in life that I'm like, oh, I want to achieve that. But ultimately, I know the motivation is, it's not them so much. It's me wanting to be a better version of myself than I currently am. That's all that is. If you look at it as something as simple as, do you want to get better in life every day? Is everything you do every day, are you fine with it being right here? Because there's really honestly nothing wrong with that. If you have reached a point where you're like, I'm happiest right here, there's nothing wrong with that. And I tell people that all the time. If somebody wants to work at McDonald's and looks at that as an opportunity to rise up and eventually own their own store, what is wrong with that? They chose to say, hey, look, this is my goals. Now, to other people, they may be here. That's not fair. That's you pushing your stuff off on other people. If that's that person's goals, you respect those goals. And guess what? If that's what they consider success, then you should damn well consider it success for them too, if that's what they consider success. I do not like when people try to tear other people down because their goals aren't the same as theirs. Everybody's goals aren't the same. I don't expect everybody to do the things that I do. And there are other people out there where I'm like, I am not. I have friends who are trying to be doctors and they're trying to be engineers. That's not me. They're a little, I like to stay down here a little bit in my comfort zone. But again, my right here is somebody else's up here. So it's all relative. And motivation comes within. How motivated are you to be more than what you are? How motivated are you to learn something new every day, as I do? I try to learn something new every day. I want to be in the best shape as possible. I want to live as long as possible. I want to stay connected with my family as much as possible, not burn bridges, and I want to be a great father. I want to be a great husband. These are all things that motivate me to be the best person I can possibly be every single day. And it's rewarding for me to exceed people's expectations, especially the ones who think all the time that I'm going to fail. Some people can't see the forest for the trees. Some people think if you try something new and it's not working out, and they will be embarrassed for you if that was happening to them. Those are the ones I'm like, you don't know what I'm capable of doing. And I've shocked a lot of people in my life with that. There's a lot of things I've done in my life where people were thinking, this guy is failing miserably. And then they look back in about a year and they're like, oh, wow, I don't think I could have done that because he had to go through all this to get to where he wanted to be. I see it as a challenge. I see it as something every single day you have to push yourself and challenge yourself to do things, which is going to help with your self-esteem, help with confidence, and basically get rid of a lot of excuses, because in order to achieve it, you have to say no excuses. I have to be confident enough to shoot through it, and my self-esteem is going to be shaped by these experiences I'm having trying to reach the best version of myself. One of the weirdest things I think people forget about is your presence amongst other people, which helps with self-esteem, confidence, motivation, and basically excuses, obviously. When you are amongst other people, people are aware of you. Some people are invisible and they like it that way. Some people like to walk in a room and talk and brag and show off and be bigger than life. And there's people in the middle like I like to be. I like to be right in the middle, where when I walk in a room, people notice I'm there because I try to make an impact. I say hello. I'm trying to help people. I'm talking to people. I try to. When I walk in a room, most of the time people notice when I walk in a room and they notice when I walk out of a room. Now, there's a lot of people who don't. I work with some people who do not like, they refute, they do not want people to see them. They want to be invisible. And I work with people who so full of themselves they can't get enough of themselves, and they're walking in more rooms than they should be trying to be noticed. And your presence says a lot. Your presence amongst other people can really help you with your self-esteem and your confidence, because I always figured if you can walk in a room with people that you don't know, you never met, and those people both feel comfortable around you and you feel comfortable around them, that says a lot about you. And I've noticed that over me. I can walk in any room with any group of people, it doesn't matter, and I can talk to those people and I can have a conversation with them as if I've known them my whole life. And that comes from confidence in who I am. I know people are looking at me for me, because they know I'm not judging them, which in turn makes them not judge me. And judging people has a lot to do with it. I'm not walking in and talking about myself. I'm not walking in and being antisocial either. If somebody walks up and tries to talk to me, I'm going to hold a conversation. I make adjustments with conversations based on who I'm talking to, and I'm very aware and cognitive of that, and it's something I have to work on. But I've found, like, your presence, if you can find that Goldilocks zone of not being antisocial, but also at the same time not being a type of person where you're kicking in the door and you're basically unloading yourself on the whole room, so to speak. If you can find that little area in the middle where people generally do smile at you and they can be themselves around you, that is a big compliment with helping your self-esteem. Because when people are able to just be themselves around you, you get to see people for what they really are, whether it's good or bad. People don't have to hide and be fake. I cannot stand fake people, because it is, to me, there's no reason for you to be fake. Just be who you are. And I am comfortable in my own shoes enough to know I can walk in a room and be myself. And again, that goes back to self-esteem, confidence, your motivation. What's your motivation? My motivation is to be the best version of myself, but also to be genuine. My catchphrase for this channel is be you, be genuine. And a lot of that comes from me having shaping my self-esteem and adjusting accordingly, having the confidence to understand that I am who I am, and that's good enough for me first, and then everybody else have to figure it out later. And moving forward in life, you have to understand that things may change on a dime, and that confidence really needs to stay there. No matter what changes happen, that confidence, if that confidence stays there, that self-esteem starts moving up and down, You can find that center a lot better if you can attack things through confidence, motivation, and no excuses. And finally, to wrap up part one, we go to determination. Now, some people may think, what's the difference between determination and motivation? Again, motivation can be influenced by you looking at idols and mentors and looking at something, a model of something that you aspire to be. Determination is that will, that desire to want to honestly, deep down in your core, without even thinking about it, you have convinced yourself, I'm going to do that. And that goes back to the trying. There is no try. There is do or do not. There is no try. My boy Yoda says that, right? Determination, will, that fire, that deep hunger inside of you to not settle for what people believe you are, to not settle for what you believe you are, and to go that extra step, to challenge yourself, to push yourself, to maybe crack that shell, and something comes out of you that you had no idea was even there. But what's inside of you may shock you. It may honestly shock you. And I've done this to myself plenty of times. And the older I get, the reward from it, from going that extra step, that determination to say, you know what, this year I'm going to do something that is just nuts. I'm just going to give it a shot. Again, I'm not going to try to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to actually do it. And it has to be something obtainable that you know you can do. You can't wake up and say, I'm going to be an NFL player. No, you're not. That is trying. At that point, that's not even trying. That is you basically taking on a challenge that is unattainable. There has to be things that you know it's attainable. Meaning for me, there are certain things I like to do with my writing. I won't say what it is on here, but it's the goals are to do certain things with my writing that I never thought I would do. All my talents, I always try to push it to a whole nother level of people being like, there's no way, you're going to fail, you're nuts. And I say, oh really? And I just do it. And then things happen, and this is where I'm saying, this is where the conversation comes up, where people is like, where did you get the confidence to even think you would, to even think of doing that? And I say to them, it's because I believe in myself. I'm determined. I'm motivated by things I want to get. I don't make excuses. I'm shaping my self-esteem every day through confidence that I keep level at 100%, knowing no matter what, my confidence is not going to drop. Because I believe failure is a good thing. I believe challenging yourself is a good thing. I believe meeting new people and putting yourself in new environments is not settling for the status quo. Not settling for what people think you are. Not settling for things that you may be in the future that you see coming on the horizon. You're thinking, I'm getting old. I won't be able to do this anymore. I won't be able to do that anymore. I wish I could do this. I should have done that. Your life isn't over. As long as you're breathing and your heart's beating, you still have a shot at doing a lot of things. And that determination will help you so much with that. That is my biggest factor. I've done things in my life so far up into 38 where I have shocked myself, and I'm just getting started. There are a lot of goals and things, and I keep them in order. We'll talk about goals and how to manage them in another video. That's another video. Right now we're going to stick on confidence, and I'm telling you, being confident is very hard. It's not something that's easy. I make it sound probably easier than it is, but it's taking me up all the way up into this point in my life to figure out all the valleys, all the highs and lows, all the failures, everything that I've learned, those big giant waves of just shit just been dumped on top of you, and then you get back up every day and you say, you know what? I'm glad I went through that, because now I know how to handle that situation if it comes up again or anything like it. I know how to handle it. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to stay determined and motivated. No excuses. I'm not going to allow myself to get too low with my self-esteem. I'm going to challenge myself, because every single time you challenge yourself, that self-esteem is going to get harder. And after a while, you're noticing the shaping comes to chiseling. Now you're in the rock now. You're not soft. You are a hardened individual who has had experience and has pushed himself. And you're going to be so rewarded if you can start just taking these things in stride. Just take each one of these things. Each one of these numbers, all of them. They're all their own little separate things that just happen to come together in one big coalescence of a human being, of your self-esteem, your confidence. Work on them. Take them one day at a time. Don't get down on yourself, and above all, push yourself. Give yourself goals that others may think is unattainable for you. But do it. Even if you don't like it, try to get yourself new experiences. And in part 2, we're going to go deeper into each one of these things, and I'll give you examples on each one of how you can do that. But for right now, those are the things in part 1 that we're going to be talking about in part 2. Each one of these things, all 6 of them, I'm going to dive in and give you some examples of what I did to kind of take each one of those tasks individually. And once I got them to where they needed to be, I went on to the next one. So yeah, I worked on my self-esteem first. Then I worked on my confidence. Then I worked on not having excuses. Then I worked on my motivation. Then I worked on my determination. And all of that stuff comes into basically you having your presence be something that you can be proud of, something that others can be proud of, and other people will admire you for that because you're challenging yourself. And a lot of people don't want to do that. And ultimately, your presence in this world means something. It's not about what other people think. It's about what you think about yourself. In order to be happy and satisfied with your presence is something you have to work on. It doesn't come naturally. And to those that it does, that's on them. But for you, if you're feeling unfulfilled and there's things you need to do, try these things first. Just know that everything starts with your self-esteem, and it's going to lead to your presence and how you want people to see you. And when you're satisfied with yourself, other people will see you exactly how you want them to see you because you're going to be, it'll be undeniable. When I walk in a room, people know exactly how I see myself. It is something I can't even explain. I get the same feeling every room I go into. Every time I go into a new experience, everybody treats me the exact same. And the ones who don't, they're working on themselves. You know, you're not going to get along with everybody. It's not 100% across the board. Everybody's going to get along with you. You're going to bump heads with some people. But I would say 99% of the time, I don't have any problems with anybody because I'm confident in myself, and they know that. They can see that. They can see that I'm working on stuff. I'm the biggest critic of myself is me. They know that. Nobody could ever criticize me more than I criticize myself every single day. Nobody could ever try to reshape me or knock me up and down more than I do every day. I'm very aware of my presence, and that's what you got to work on is your presence, and it starts with your self-esteem. Part 2, we'll go deeper into each one of those, and we'll just chip away at it, and I'll tell you exactly how I confronted each one of those, because I'm telling you, if you chip away each one of those 6 points that I just made in this video, it will help you a lot, because you'll be aware of it. And that's all it's about. It's about being aware of it. It's about being aware that you want to be a better version of yourself, and ultimately the best version of yourself. And we'll get that in part 2. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Get knighted, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, be you, be genuine, but above all, be safe. See you guys next time.